with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is...
I was afraid, I didn't know what to do. A lot of us be coming in it.
And what I'll say was amazing to me was...
Season 2, welcome back to the L3 Perspective. My name is Glenn Davis. As you know, I'm sitting here with my co-host, Cameron Macias.
Coach Cam.
L3 Perspective, as you know, we talk about life, love, leadership.
As we've talked about in the past, like, love, share, subscribe. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Because at the end of the day, we do it for you guys.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Season 2 of the L3 Perspective, where we talk about life, love, leadership. We appreciate you guys tuning in, listening, feedback, and all that. We have a very special guest today that I'm excited to introduce. But before I do, I'm going to toss it over to Cam. Coach Cam.
Hey, as you guys already know, like, love, share, subscribe. You got to tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. We do it for y'all. Otherwise, we're just going to do whatever we want if you don't give us the feedback. So today, G's going to introduce Christiana, and then we're going to rock.
Yes, Christiana Alexis. For you guys, a former Marine Corps sergeant is a leader whose resilience and discipline shines through every facet of her career, drawing on her military experience where she honed skills in adaptability, team dynamics, and strategic leadership, one of my favorites. Christiana transitioned into the world of acting and modeling with unparalleled dedication. Now a well-known Bay Area model and actress. She worked on campaigns for top brands like Snapchat, Instacart, Rachel Ray, and Hotel Valencia. In addition to walking in fashion shows and starring in indie films showcased at film festivals around the world, globally. I like that. As the founder and lead coach of Prestige Studios, Christiana is passionate about empowering young actors and models to refine their craft, build standout portfolios, and develop the self-confidence to succeed in a competitive industry. Her work and her life story creates art that resonates deeply, a blend of strength, artistry, and authenticity into every project she is in. Ladies and gentlemen, Christiana Alexis. Welcome to the L3 Perspective.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So we met you at ModelCon. Mm-hmm. I don't think you wanted to give us I'm gonna throw it out there, an interview.
Yeah.
And but it was great because then you were like, but I would love to be on the podcast. I was like, all right, cool. Because we talked about before we recorded was your energy is great. Mm-hmm. And so we definitely wanted to have you on. So we appreciate you accepting. Marine Corps. So it's Veterans Day weekend. It's not going to air next week, but people watching this is Veterans Day weekend. Also, the Marine Corps' birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm a recruiter. So how did that happen? Like, how did you end up joining the Marines, especially as a female, especially as a minority female?
Yes. Okay, so I always wanted to be in the military.
Yeah.
My father, he was in the Army.
Okay.
And then. I just felt always the pull to it.
Yeah.
And originally, I enlisted into the Army.
The switcheroo.
So I ended up getting something called frost nip on my fingers because I was in Wisconsin. It's cold and it snows, and I didn't have gloves on. Right? And the Army was like, "Oh no, you're disqualified." So it's not quite frostbite, but
it's like close. It's like
close.
Borderline.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I've never heard of that.
So I went to the Marine Corps recruiter office because the entire time that I was in the Army's program for their delayed entry program, the Marine Corps recruiters were kind of like watching, and they were like, they're not going to appreciate your athletic abilities, right?
Oh,
you should come over here.
Yeah.
And so, went in there with my tail behind my legs and was like, so I had this happened. The Army said they won't take me anymore. Will you guys take me? The next question was, can you pull the trigger? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll get you a waiver.
Yeah.
The waiver.
Through and through.
And then went into the Marine Corps. Heard that it was the hardest.
Okay.
And loved it. Loved the fact that there was that challenge to it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you spent years in the Marine Corps. And so can you just share a little snippet of your career, right? I know I kind of got a glimpse behind the curtain before we started recording.
So as far as career-wise, I went in 2012 did all the training, was admin, and then later on went into martial arts training to become a martial arts instructor. Became one after 3 weeks of training, and then trained Marines up from tan belt to black belt.
Nice.
That was great.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So, military, Marine Corps specifically,
Got out as a sergeant.
actress, model,
Get it right, bro.
CEO, strategic leader, all of that.
All of that, yeah.
Where did you find your passion?
Ooh, where did I find my passion? So I think
Karate chopping fools, dog.
I think at a very young age, I don't remember what age it was exactly. I've always been a reader, right? Okay. Like for instance, and this is probably a very, I don't know the right word for this at the moment.
Feel free to be vulnerable.
Whenever I mention this author, people are like, oh, but I feel like her storytelling is so great and I learned a lot from her. But I would read books like The Fountainhead, Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. So I was always reading books at that level. And I remember reading a quote from Joseph Campbell. He wrote this book about, I forgot the name of it, but it's about basically the hero and myth. And it said, follow your bliss. If you follow your bliss, you put yourself on the path that was basically meant for you. I don't remember word for word, but that it's meant for you. And then it opens doors for you with people who are on the same exact path as you. Not for you, excuse me, to you.
Gotcha.
And I think that word is important. It said for instead of to.
Yes, I agree. Definitely agree.
I strive to know authors when people say, "Oh, there's this author," and I'm just like, I'm not gonna know who it is. But one day I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know who that is."
She's a very controversial. That's the word.
Okay,
Controversial author. For
So
sure.
what makes her controversial? Put us on game.
Her politics, really.
Okay.
But there's something about her storytelling and about the characters that she writes about, her main characters. They always have drive, they have passion, they have ambition, they go for what they want. And I felt like those characteristics have always been in me. So I think that's, books is probably where I found my passion to answer your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna necessarily go down the rabbit hole of politics, but So I always find it interesting how like people's views of the world and maybe like their views on personal topics can sometimes skew like how good they are at like art. Like you said, like she's amazing at storytelling, but there might be people who are like, oh, I won't read her because of her political views. Like as a actress, as a model, like how do you navigate that? And like what do you think about as you're thinking about what you're gonna say or how you're gonna move to obviously still be you, but obviously not potentially ruin opportunities in the same time?
Right. Respect.
Yeah.
I think respecting other people's opinion and understanding that like I have an opinion, they have an opinion, and respectfully, saying my opinion in a way that hopefully that doesn't offend them. And if it does, being open to receive that feedback and talk to them, and vice versa. And then if I feel like I'm not going to get that same respect, it's not a conversation to be had.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So you seem like you're really big on protecting your energy.
Oh yeah.
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 Like why is that important to you?
Because it allows me to authentically be myself.
Yeah.
I think if I allow things into my circle, my dad growing up used to tell us that he used to make us draw a circle around our feet, right? And he would be like, this is your bubble. Never let anyone into that bubble unless you want them in your bubble.
Yeah.
And I think that mindset carried a little bit into my adulthood, where if someone comes into that bubble and it's bringing me bad energy, it's going to prevent myself from authentically being who I am. And there's been times where that has happened in my life where my personality will become smaller because I allowed that energy to make that, be a thing.
That's good that you recognize that, because one of the things that we're big on, me in particular for sure, is the energy. And I've always, at least the last 15 years, I've been like that. And so I'm very selective on like who I allow in that bubble.
Yes.
And I also recognize that when I've let my guard down a little bit and allowed someone who I normally wouldn't allow in that bubble, I felt the wraps of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for people to realize that who you have in your circle and who you call friends or who's in that bubble is very, very important in whatever season that you're in.
Yes.
Right. Like if I'm saying that, hey, I want to be, the next best version of myself, but I'm hanging out with the less version of myself type of individuals, it'll be more challenging for me to get there.
Absolutely. And that's the trick too, right? Is being comfortable of letting go of people who are just not, I don't want to say on the same level, but just in the same chapter of your book, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I had a conversation with a mutual friend of ours yesterday, and that's something that I was telling her was not. And we've talked about this before. Is not enough people talk about like that grief cycle of when you've changed the chapter and someone's still stuck in a different one.
Yeah.
Because in the last 2 years, I no longer am friends with two people that I was friends with for decades.
Yeah.
And it was just because like one of them, it was just straight destructive behavior. And at which point I was like, bro, I can't be a part of this. And then the second one was just like, we grew apart. They're doing their thing. I'm doing my thing. We had a conversation, and I think not even politically, but just like mindset wise, we were in different places. And I saw like the shift as it was happening, like in the moment. I was like, oh, it's all good. Like no ill will, best wishes. But not enough people kind of talk about that. And like, even when we're saying, manifesting the future, that includes manifesting the people you're around.
Yes.
And like, it's like, oh, I want money, I want whatever, or I want, peace. Okay, cool. What does that peace look like? And the people surrounding you with said peace.
Exactly.
So I would ask you that.
Yeah.
What do you look like in 10 years? What does your circle look like in 10 years?
Hopefully other like-minded people. I think just striving for their success, striving to live their bliss. I'm going to keep saying that because that is how I live my life.
Yeah.
Good.
The other day someone asked me, why am I always so happy? And I was like, because I love my life. I follow my bliss.
Yeah.
So hopefully other people who are like that and just going after what they want. Big movie deals. Yeah, throw that in there. No,
that's good. That's good. So you had mentioned that your dad, as kids, drew a circle around you guys and gave that life principle. What are some other life principles that he shared with you that sticks to you today?
Don't listen to the naysayers. It's one of his favorite.
No, yeah.
I think I probably hear that almost every phone call.
I love you. Don't listen to that.
Don't listen to naysayers. I think stuck with me a lot because, like I said, there was a lot of people in my life that wouldn't imagine me where I'm at today. And had I listened to their opinions or thoughts, I wouldn't be here. And then my mom as well has been a big advocate for me. Constantly also reminding me to go after my dreams. Both my parents.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting, like, because, you hear that when people are like, oh, go after your dreams, but but they don't feel that they have the support to go after the dreams.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it sounds like you had, you were, growing up in an environment that really pushed and supported and like, hey, yes, there's a box, but it's okay to color outside that box.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So what pushed you into acting, into modeling?
So what pushed me into modeling was I'm always an artist. I've always been an artist through and through. And though I was a sergeant and very good at my job in the Marine Corps, I needed an artistic way to express myself. And so I got into modeling. One day I was shopping at a boutique and this lady was like, hey, let me take photos of you, please. Okay.
Yeah.
And
if
I
that
used
was
to
a
run.
dude, he'd be like, run.
Oh, yeah. And at the time I was like afraid of the camera.
Okay.
literally hate when someone would want a selfie, or
Yeah.
I would be behind the group of folks so I could
Yep.
hide behind someone last
For sure.
second. Yeah, or offer, I can take the photo.
Yeah.
So I reluctantly agreed, but she made it so much fun that I was like, oh, like maybe I'll get into modeling. And I feel like people assume that modeling is just, oh, I'm putting on some clothes, standing in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But the job of a model is to make the viewer feel something.
For sure.
And so that made me really excited to do that. And then I wanted to better my modeling. And modeling is silent acting. So I started taking acting classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of, because you have your master's in.
Yes.
Can you speak about that journey?
Yeah. So loved acting so much that I ended up getting my master's in acting. Took classes in Meisner, Alexander Technique, even editing. I took some communication classes as well. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I know it wasn't, or it may have not been easy road, right? So you wanted to, acting was an interest, modeling was an interest. You jump into school on this journey to get your master's. Like, was there any point during that journey where you were just like, either you felt like you couldn't do it, or was there a big road barrier that kind of stood in your way to kind of get where you had to figure out how to get around it?
Honestly, no, I don't think I've ever had a moment where I was like, I can't do this. I don't think I ever allowed myself to think that.
Okay.
And maybe it's because of the Marine Corps. You know, I did the martial arts instructor course with a torn ligament. And I feel like that was like the biggest obstacle I ever had in my life physically. And I pushed through it mentally. And I think I was able to develop a certain mindset of like, if I could do that, then I could do this. So yeah, I don't think there has been a huge block. Are there factors to it that are kind of like, I wish it was a little bit different? Sure. Like, I'm in California. My entire family's in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
In North Carolina. So I'm out here, you know, pretty much on my own. It'd be nice to have them around. Right. But other than that, yeah, no.
Good.
Yeah. Good. So why California?
Acting.
Yeah. So I mean, but that's
Yeah.
like Southern California normally. So
Yes.
so why Northern? Because I mean, Sacramento isn't exactly like we did a friend we have in Sacramento, and he's even told us how difficult it is to get movies made in Sacramento because of some of the like laws in place or the hurdles you have to jump through, like especially in a sound studio environment. So like, why up here?
So it's far enough from LA, but close enough to LA. I do love the Bay Area. I really do. I traveled back and forth to the Bay a couple of times while I was over in North Carolina.
Okay.
And just fell in love with it. I love the culture. I love the people here.
We are pretty dope.
I'll say.
They're right.
I haven't left, and I don't foresee myself leaving yet. So,
Nice.
No, I love the Bay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Marine Corps to going through school to get your master's.
Yeah.
And you did that while you're still going as a Marine.
No.
Is that-
No.
okay.
Yeah,
So
I got
after
out.
that, you
Yes.
jumped into getting your degree, modeling actor, and then you opened up your
Yes.
business.
Yes.
So what was that like?
Oof. So, well, entrepreneurship is an
It's
entire
a roller
road.
coaster. It's a roller coaster, baby.
It is definitely a ride. But it was liberating. I think one thing I've learned about myself is that I also like to mentor people, right? And when I started modeling, I had no mentor whatsoever. And it was learn as you go.
Right.
I was like, if I can make someone else's journey more easy, then, you know, let me do that.
Right.
So I did open up Protege, and we were open and we had a few workshops and stuff, and then COVID happened. And I think one of the hardest things I had to do was close it. One, because we had a location, a studio, and I had an employee.
Yeah.
letting go the employee was also really, really hard.
Oh, I'm sure.
Having that conversation. I think it was the first time I ever had to let someone go.
Yeah.
I felt like I failed him, I failed protege, and I failed myself. And that was something I had to work through in order to be like, okay, I'm ready to open back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you open back up now?
Yes.
And how's that going?
It's going great. It's going great. I coach. Now we added the element of acting. So I coach actors as well. And that's exciting.
Nice.
So you're back to having your studio space is open.
No, the studio space is not. It's
Okay.
one-on-one sessions right now.
Okay.
January, I am having an 8-week intensive.
Okay.
I'm just looking for the right location in Sacramento.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so Sacramento, so primarily will you be in the Sacramento area, or will you kind of be more in the San Francisco area?
So it's going to be mostly in the Bay Area.
Okay.
I like Sacramento, so I was like, I want the first reopen for the workshop
Yeah.
to be in
Okay.
Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I only ask because sometimes you ask folks from Sacramento or from California,
Yeah.
and they're like, Sacramento's not the Bay Area. So I just wanted to.
I'm still trying to figure out what the answer is.
I know, right?
It's not the Bay Area.
I've even, so I live in San Jose, and I've heard that San Jose is not the Bay Area.
I'll give San Jose. So my wife always asks me this because like even Fairfield, there's like, oh, it's the North Bay. So the thing is, it's not touching any of the Bay Area water, and that's usually kind of like the way that people distinguish is like, does it touch some body of water from the Bay Area?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
just
still learning
my
myself.
opinion. I'm not like the founding father.
Yeah, I definitely got to.
So to go from like having a studio, COVID closing, and then going into one-on-one, what do you feel you enjoyed most? Was it the one-on-ones? I ask because like, G and I talk about this because I coach and I was doing individual coaching.
Yes.
And what I learned was that I really enjoy kind of group coaching more.
Yeah.
One-on-one, at least for the type of coaching I was doing is, it was exhausting. I mean, it was great, it was making a difference, but it was very tiring.
You're a life coach, right?
I want to call it life coach. Yeah, I mean, if that's the easiest way for people to understand what I did, but in general, like I could coach about anything, and so, but that transferred into like more people ask me about business stuff, and so that's why now we do more so like business optimization stuff like that, and so. Do you feel like you enjoy one-on-one more than group, or is it like the same, or is it like what are the aspects?
So I think I enjoy group. I do like one-on-ones. I do like that interaction with one client and seeing them like grow. But then also there's something about a group where watching them support each other and grow together that is very uplifting. Yeah.
I think that's the empathetic leadership in you.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I really enjoy about you is your personality, as I complimented earlier.
Thank you.
And your energy is very, very uplifting, positive. And I think so with people like us who are like that,
Yeah.
Cam had kind of asked you a question as far as like the one-on-one or group coaching.
Yeah.
When you were doing your one-on-one, like what are some of the things, like when you're like pouring all of that into these up-and-coming actors and actresses and models,
Yeah.
like how do you recharge? What are you doing to recharge you, to keep your cup full?
I guess doing things that I love to do, making sure I have time to decompress as well. I paint.
Okay.
Painting is one of my escapes. Love it.
What kind of painting?
Oil painting. I do a lot of landscapes.
Oh, oil painting, man. I had to paint this office with oil paint. Never again.
Yeah. Oil paint takes forever to dry.
Man, I don't want to talk about it.
I appreciate
like,
appreciate all the work that went into it.
But yeah, that making sure I'm taking my own classes. I think a lot of people think that you reach a certain level, you never have to take a class or a workshop again. That's not true.
Yeah.
I think I will probably take acting classes until the day I decide I'm not acting anymore.
Makes sense.
So just doing that, yeah.
So with acting, like what's your long-term goal with that? Like for you to say, hey, I'm going to be a lifelong learner. I'm going to keep mastering this skill.
Yeah.
What's the long goal?
I want to play action characters or characters that are in action films that are strong. I feel like it would be nice to see women that look like me, especially where, I come from. I come from, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My background, I'm Black, I'm Mexican, and I want to see more women who kick butt
Nice.
and take names.
There you go.
I like it.
Is martial arts still like an integral part of your life?
Not in the last couple of years, just because my focus has been on acting.
Yeah.
I am going to start back up soon
Okay.
because I do want to do my own stunts for sure.
Nice. Nice.
For sure. Yeah.
I do my own stunts all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. But I just want to tell stories.
Yeah.
Stories for people that look like me and our communities. Yeah.
So I have a question. In your experience so far in the industry, like someone like you, seems like you stay true to who you are, right? Boundaries don't seem to be an issue. Like
no.
very positive
Yeah.
mindset. And
Yeah.
you have another group who come into the industry, and I would just say they don't have those boundaries, right? Do you feel that you need to or have needed to compromise even a snippet of who you were to not get that job or to get that job?
So far, no. I think that will be something that I will try to maintain, are my boundaries. I do know there are certain roles that I won't take for my own image, for the type of characters that I do want to play. But so far, no. No, I've had a couple incidents where I had to name my boundary and was like,
Gotcha.
and I will say it as respectfully too
Right.
as
For sure.
possible. But yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And like I said, the reason why I asked is just you see more of that
Yeah.
than folks who are like, no, this is like here's the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So not much of this is scripted.
Yeah.
But the only one
you
thing
can
that the only thing that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
scripted is our last question. So
Okay.
G's gonna ask you the question. That's his question, and
Yeah.
so and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. So I think I've been looking forward to kind of this conversation. Like I said, I thrive off of connecting with folks who are very positive minded. But anyway, to transition to the question I will ask is this: there's 3 words.
Okay.
I want you to pick one of them
Okay.
and then just share what's on your heart. So the 3 words are life, love, or leadership.
Okay.
And if you could just share whatever's on your heart to our audience, or to us in the audience.
So, life. I feel like we often look for the big question of what is life? What is my purpose? And if we look within ourselves, we'll find that purpose. And again, to go back to my favorite quote of all time, follow your bliss. Yeah.
Gotcha. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do want to ask one more question.
Okay.
All right. Just because my heart is in the youth,
Yeah.
and I know that you coach youth. Can you talk a little bit about your program?
Yeah, yes. So Protege, we have 2 modeling, the modeling aspect, and then we have the acting aspect of it. So right now I coach 16 and up. I haven't quite opened yet to the younger crowd. Just yet.
Don't do
Different
it.
breed.
Just yet. But modeling, it not only just helps you develop your pose skills,
Right.
Commercial modeling, fashion modeling, but it also helps you develop confidence so that you're able to walk in this world, the better you, the
Yeah.
side of you that you want the world to see.
For sure.
And then the acting is just taking everything that's within yourself and learning how to develop that into characters so that you can play multiple characters.
Are you saying the acting? Like when you said, are you saying the acting or?
The acting portion.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yes.
what's the acting?
And you did call Protege Prestige. It's Protege, now known as Protege Studios.
Thank you. Okay. But I said prestige.
Yeah, you
It's
said prestige.
protege.
It's protege,
Prestige,
yeah.
You're thinking of Step Brothers, Prestige Worldwide.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very, very much so. Because number one, I'm glad you didn't just leave it like that, because
Yeah.
one of the things that we try to do is through our listeners and supporters, any of the guests that we have on, we want
Yeah.
to make sure that they reach out to them and that they connect and that they utilize the services through that. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah.
that.
No, of course.
We want
of
to
course.
respect.
Names are
obviously.
very important. To me. Yeah.
For sure. I have a Philadelphia education love. No, I'm just kidding.
Ask him to say water.
Well, it couldn't be worse than in Wisconsin, where people are always like, say bag, right? Because some
Yeah.
people say big, right? It just-
Really?
yeah. Well, it depends on where you.
I've never heard that.
So we're right below Canada, right?
Ah.
And so sometimes in the school, in the education system, you learn how to say the letter A in two different ways. And so sometimes I slip up and I do say big instead of bag.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I
Like
get
she
it, I
likes
get
baguettes. I love bread too.
it. The worst one is when people say, well, how do you say bagel? I still can't figure out.
Bagel.
But bagel.
Yeah.
It still sounds the same to me.
Interesting.
So-
You were
like-
meant to be in California. That's all it was. That's all it was.
Yeah.
So I know the last question that Cam normally asks is,
So how can people find you? Please tell everyone about when your classes are starting. I know you've kind of already said it, but we always like
Yes.
to make sure at the end we repeat it so people
Yeah,
can see it again. But what programs you have going on, where people can find you, and what you can help folks with.
Yes. Okay. Should I look at the camera?
Yeah, you can look at the camera.
Okay. Just making sure.
No, you're good.
So you can find me on my Instagram at Christiana Alexis. You can also find Protege's Instagram at Protege Studios. The workshops are going to start in January, first week of January. Super excited about that. The information will be on the Instagram. And if you sign up for our newsletters, which I highly recommend, they come out every week.
Okay.
Sometimes multiple, like there should be a Veterans Day coming out.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
All
Gotta
right.
represent the veterans.
Yeah.
You'll get all the information as far as locations, times, and whatnot.
Very cool. You have to follow her on IG too, because everything's like super trendy, and I'm like, all right,
Yes.
yeah. I was like, all right, I can. Like when you do like you're out and about like
Oh, yeah.
content, I'm like, I'll be watching, I'll be taking stuff, I steal everything.
Yeah.
it was good.
Yes, sir.
Thank
We
you.
are so happy that you blessed us with your time on the L3 Perspective.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing your journey and
Thank you.
things opening up, the ribbon cutting ceremony, all of that.
All of
Yeah.
When you pick
Thank
your
you.
location. But we are very, very grateful that our paths cross at ModelCon in 2024 in Sacramento, California.
Yep.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored
Of
to
course.
be here.
So with that being said, we'll see y'all later.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is
I was afraid, I didn't know what to do. A lot of us be coming in it.
And what I'll say was amazing to me was
Season 2. Welcome back to the L3 Perspective. My name is Glenn Davis. As you know, I'm sitting here with my co-host, Cameron Macias.
Coach Cam.
L3 Perspective, as you know, we talk about life, love, leadership.
As we've talked about in the past, like, love, share, subscribe. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Because at the end of the day, we do it for you guys.